Today on Fresno State Focus, find out how a local church is helping members of the community.
Plus, a Fresno State blood drive and marrow drive gives hope to an alumnus with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm John Dix.
And I'm Dana Lipkin. Interested in becoming a successful student leader but not sure where to start? Listen to this. Fresno State's Emerging Leaders Retreat is looking for students to get more involved, and it's free. It's a 3-day event where students come together to learn about leadership skills and network with student leaders and clubs on campus. Fresno State Leadership Programs Advisor Arthur Montejano says the retreat is also a great way for students to connect with people of similar interests.
If you're looking to really explore your potential, the Emerging Leaders Retreat is the place to come and meet those other individuals who are going to inspire you, who are going to push you to reach your potential, and who ultimately will become some of your best friends throughout college.
The next Emerging Leadership Retreat event will be on campus in the University Student Union from October 24th through the 26th. If you are interested in attending, visit fresnostate.edu/leadership and register by October 22nd.
Fresno State has introduced a new club on campus known as the Lobby Corps, where students have the opportunity to speak out on important issues. Student advocacy is a main focus of the newly founded alliance. Students are able to come together and advocate on issues such as financial aid and tuition. With so much going on in Fresno County, the club has been busy keeping up with other topics. Vice President Karan Donjon says there are plenty to focus on.
So many things that are coming in and out. There's so many issues that are involving Fresno County, like the drought for one, in terms of just like the federally known bills, like the sexual assault bill that came out a month ago, and stuff like that. That's what we want students to be more engaged in.
Any Fresno State student can attend the public meeting. The group meets in the USU room 310 every other Wednesday.
For 3 years, Fresno State alumnus Justin Garza has battled cancer with little hope of getting better, but now he may have found a permanent fix. Angela Sasaki tells us how your efforts may have helped and how you can continue to help others like him.
Don't be in a hurry. Justin Garza was always a happy and healthy guy who loved coaching football. But in 2011, his life took an unexpected turn when he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, he is battling the cancer a 3rd time and needs a bone marrow transplant to survive, and he may just have found one.
I think we're getting prepped for that. I just don't want to say that everything's a go, because if it's not, then I don't want to mislead people. So as soon as I find out, I think I'll be announcing it real soon.
When Garza first found out he needed a transplant, he also found out his best chance of finding a match was from someone of Hispanic descent like himself. And while Hispanics only make up 10% of the current registry, his chances of finding one were slim. So he held a drive at Central High to raise awareness. Now he is the inspiration behind several drives in the Central Valley that have brought in almost 2,000 new registrants. Fresno State held its blood and marrow drive in honor of Garza last month, but Learning Center Interim Director Tasha Jafrida says if you missed it, you can still help.
So for people 18 to 44, they can go to any Central California Blood Center location. There's 3 in Fresno, in fact 1 just down the street from Fresno State, and 1 in Porterville and 1 in Visalia. So they can go to any of those locations and register for free.
If you're interested in finding out if you're a match, just follow the simple process of swabbing both cheeks, a process that takes less than 40 seconds. Then, if you're a match, you could save a life.
Garza says the number of people who have come together to raise awareness is amazing, and he hopes the number of registrants will continue to grow. He also says although the last 3 years have been a struggle, they have also been the best years of his life.
I have a 3-year-old son, I have a wife, I have a kid on the way. Life doesn't get much better than, the way I have it. So to me, everybody has to deal with things, and this is just my thing.
Garza says he is hopeful the transplant will work, but will continue to stay positive regardless of what happens. Angela Sasaki, Fresno State Focus.
Pink, pink, and more pink. October is the month for breast cancer awareness, and on the 25th, the 16th annual Komen Central Valley Race for the Cure will take place at Fresno State. Sharon Johnson, Executive Director for the organization, is here to give us some information on the big day. Hello, Sharon.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So this year we have a fundraising goal. What is the fundraising goal and how far are we?
We want to raise $300,000. We accept donations until December 31st. And right now, I don't know how far we are.
We don't know.
We'll know at the end of the week.
The end of the week?
Yeah.
Excellent. Where do you plan on being by the end of this? Like the 300,000, but at the end of this week, you want to reach 300,000?
No, we're not close to that yet. Fresno is notorious for registering for the race late. Okay. So I don't take into consideration these figures this week. Probably next week and the week after are going to be the key points.
Okay. How important is it that the community comes together as a whole to reach this goal?
Well, 75% of the net proceeds from the race fund all these life-saving projects we have, such as free mammograms, lymphedema treatment, culturally appropriate education. So it's very important. Without these funds, we could not sustain these programs or expand.
Okay. Being a two-time breast cancer survivor, how important is this cause to you?
Very important. I mean, I do what I do, and I educate and often share my story because I want women to have the same fighting chance that I had.
Mm-hmm. And can you explain some of your experience with it? What you went through?
Well, I got involved with Susan G. Komen not because of my experience, but because a young woman was told she was too young to have breast cancer. By the time she saw another doctor for a second opinion, it spread throughout her body. So I knew her less than a year from the time I met her. And it was her words. She made me promise her, if you ever come across someone that's been finding a lump or sees something wrong in their breast and they're told they're too young, that I would be their advocate and say, get a second opinion. So that's why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm. So how can the community get involved with this?
There's two ways, actually. Well, three ways. You can register for the race and participate. You can donate to the race, or you can volunteer.
Okay. If you can't race for the race this weekend, what else can you do?
Well, if you can't do it that particular day, we have an option called Sleep In for the Cure. Oh. If you have a bad knee, bad back, or whatever, you can still support the race, still get a T-shirt, but you don't have to actually participate in the event.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to add today?
We have a fun kids zone called Kids for the Cure, mm-hmm. where you can bring the kids, age 4 to about 12 is who participates. They get a T-shirt. They have a lot of crafts that they can do, as well as a little kids race.
Oh, excellent. And when is that again?
October 25th.
October 25th. All righty. Well, thank you so much for being here, Ms. Johnson. We've been talking with Sharon Johnson, Executive Director for Komen Central Valley.
If you've ever wondered how you can be part of a positive change in another person's life, you don't have to look very far. Every Thursday night, an event known as Base Camp helps feed people in the community who don't have much to eat. Tia Vance has more on the significance of this occasion.
Every Thursday, residents in the community come together for a night of feasting in the dining hall of Wesley United Methodist Church. The event known as Base Camp was originally meant as a gathering for local members of the church. It has turned into a volunteer service where members of the church feed those in the community who can't afford a proper meal. Base Camp coordinator Christy Sauter tells us what started as a breakfast program evolved into something much greater.
It started probably about 9 years ago in another form. We've been working on food insecurity in this neighborhood since that time, in a manner where we're actually feeding folks.
Base Camp is known for being a great way to connect with the community. With everyone coming together, many are given a sense of relief, proud that they are able to become more united. Fresno State student Alaris Clemente has been helping serve for 3 years. Clemente says she was just in it for the community service, but after noticing the change it did for the community, she hasn't stopped yet. Clemente enjoys knowing that she is being a big help in someone else's life.
Just for the community members themselves to see that they have pride in their own community just makes me feel even better for serving them, because it shows that I have helped in some way for them to, help themselves too.
For community resident Wyling Davis, attending this event has given her a sense of comfort for her family. Because it has helped her, Davis decided to become involved herself.
I feel better and a lot to do with the kids, because I have my grandbabies all the time. I just like to get involved.
Anyone is welcome to attend the event every week in the Fireside Room location of the church. Tia Vance, Fresno State Focus.
Children's Hospital is promoting a charity benefit to raise money for the Ronald McDonald House. They're selling red and white striped socks to benefit the families who live in the house. The Red Stripe Crawl will take place in Fresno's Tower District in downtown Visalia on Friday, October 10th from 5 to 8 p.m. Fresno State student Cecilio Zaragoza is promoting the event.
They pretty much have very ill children, so they provide a, kind of a home away from home, because as you guys might know, having an ill children is already like an emotional battle. So they're there to comfort them, and they're free of charge. They provide them with resources.
The Ronald McDonald House is located next to the Children's Hospital in Madera. It can house up to 18 out-of-town families, allowing them to be near their children who are in the hospital. The socks are being sold in various locations and restaurants around Fresno and Visalia, including the Sequoia Brewing Company. Proceeds from the sock sales are donated to the Ronald McDonald House.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, an opportunity for Fresno State students to travel with a new organization to provide free healthcare to impoverished countries.
Plus, find out why the whales of Monterey are catching everyone's attention. All that when we come back.
So you decided to go to Fresno State. Good for you.
Okay.
But you were too insecure to show Fresno State pride? That's a problem. Because you never bothered to show pride in your school, you are shunned by other students. Professors can smell the stench of impending failure on you and take no pity. Even the mass communication students agree you have no future. But all of this could have been avoided if you simply showed your pride.
In a normal voice,
State.
yes.
I am Fresno State.
Fresno
No,
State
because
pride.
we're getting your mic.
Show it or face the consequences.
I am and always will be.
A surprise for a Fresno State student sitting on the grass near the Satellite Student Union. Just before 2 this afternoon, a big tree fell over right next to where the student was sitting. She wasn't hurt and left for class. Groundkeepers have cordoned off the area and they removed the tree. No word yet on why it fell.
Anti-abortion demonstrators placed photos of fetuses around the free speech area last week. Images included a bloody fetus and other graphic pictures of abortions. Members of survivors of the abortion Holocaust were on campus handing out flyers and booklets to students. Their goal is to bring an end to abortion.
No, we actually have a lot of women that come up to us and say, look, this is my 2-year-old. They'll bring their babies and they'll be like, this is my 2-year-old son that you guys were out here and I chose not to get an abortion because you were here. Most of the time when they come up to us, they're very grateful, you know. It's a life-changing experience to decide not to kill your baby.
Other students on campus had mixed emotions about the anti-abortion display. Many were upset that the group had placed what they had described as morbid photos out in the open for everyone to see. The anti-abortion group has criticized for use of graphic images on other college campuses. The controversy has prompted debate about free speech protections and limits.
Many organizations go overseas to give medical treatment to those in need. There is a new nonprofit in Clovis that is trying to do things a little differently. Dr. Walters is an anesthesiologist at Clovis Community Hospital. From his tiny office, he spends his free time running Volunteers for Humanity, a new innovative nonprofit. They provide medical, dental, and surgical care to underserved and impoverished areas around the world. Volunteers for Humanities has already traveled to Uganda and Kenya. What makes them different from other organizations is that each trip is only a week long.
You go 3 months someplace, or they have a 3-month assignment, and you go there. I think you'll have some difficulty, going there. So I think we're a good introductory organization for someone who's interested in performing that type of life.
Walters says that they're planning on returning to both Uganda and Kenya and will also be traveling to the Philippines. He knows it will take a while, but he says he hopes to grow Volunteers for Humanities so he can help as many people as possible. Volunteers for Humanities has already students from both high schools and colleges traveling with the organization. Here to give us a better understanding of what community service means for Fresno State students is the Assistant Director of the Jan and Bud Richter Center for Community Engagement and Service Learning, Melissa Jensen-Hesser. Thank you for joining us, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.
Well, so tell me, what is service learning?
So service learning is a dual component to a class.
where your teacher or instructor will require you to do service in the community to benefit the community that also relates to the theory you're learning in the classroom. So students are able to apply the theory they learn out to benefit our community.
Great, and why is this really important for the students?
Yeah, so imagine going to dental school and never having a chance to practice dentistry on a live person. So that's kind of the concept we're applying in service learning. Our students are getting to actually put into practice the things they learn in the classroom and gaining all kinds of valuable skills in that process. And at the same time, they're benefiting the community. So they get to learn about the community, the issues that they'll face once they're out there working as leaders.
And what are some of the programs that you have going on right now with the service learning? What are some of the things that students do?
So actually at Fresno State, our students and faculty and staff provide over 1 million hours of service to the community every year. And that's a huge continuum. So on one end, we have the blood drives and the marrow drive, which you already discussed today. And things really intensive, like 300-hour internships. And in between there, we have like 15-hour service learning course requirements, one-day service events like we have coming up on October 25th, Make a Difference Day. You can register online on our website. Little shameless plug. But so it's a huge variety of opportunities for students.
Now, is this limited to just if your major covers this, like if this is something you need, or can a student take this as an elective to further their education?
Yeah, so any student can be involved, whether they want it to be for a class or not. We do offer a couple of community service-based classes that are open to all majors, Community Service 1 and 101, and those are available in the schedule courses.
What can students do if they want to, like to get started, if they want to do this, if this sounds right to them?
I encourage students to come visit us in the Richter Center. We're in the Thomas Building, room 107, or look us up online, fresnostate.edu/CESL. And we can help students find ways to connect that relates either to their studies or even just something they're passionate about.
What if it's something like this organization, Volunteers for Humanities, where they're going overseas? Mm-hmm. Can they do something, can they find an organization and then say, hey, I see this organization, I would like to use this for my class?
Yeah, so there are several organizations that do that kind of work. We're happy to work with those students to earn credit. They'll need to work with the instructor ahead of time. I don't recommend that students do the service and then come back and say, oh, hey, I want credit for this. Right. As long as we have like a learning plan in place, it should work.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Mm-hmm. Melissa Jensen-Heller from the Richter Center, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Fresno State and Cashian Enterprises have teamed up to bring to life a new development project called Campus Point. Reporter Trace Garrison tells us the project is expected to bring jobs and entertainment to Fresno State students.
We'll have a combination of shopping, food, entertainment, and retail stores. This project will have up to 15 different businesses, including a movie theater and hotel. This will benefit Fresno State students who live by campus, especially those who are living at Palazzo's. First-year Palazzo's resident, Rachel Yaw, says she can't wait until it's completed.
I'm really excited for the new shopping center. I hear that there's going to be a variety of different food places, a variety of different shopping centers, and the most convenient part about it is that it's walking distance, and that's what I'm excited the most about.
While many students are looking forward to the project, others aren't so sure.
I'm a little concerned because it might create traffic congestion for us students living here at Palazzo's, and it also might take away from businesses here around this area.
Gibson Farm Market employee Chase DeRuiter says it will impact Fresno State students.
I do think it'll impact students in Fresno State, but I think it'll be in a good way because since there's not much to do around here, there's not much room for Fresno State students to be social. So in this way, I think a lot of people will see a lot of new faces, and that'll be a really good thing.
Fresno State students are anxiously waiting for the grand opening of Campus Point, which is set to be finished by the end of this year.
Campus Point offers an assortment of shopping, dining, business, and entertainment, all within the 45-acre development. Trace Garrison, Fresno State Tickets.
If you're interested in marine biology, you can make whale watching part of your course plan at Fresno State. Fresno State students can take undergraduate and graduate classes at the Moss Landing Marine Laboratories in the Monterey Bay. These courses are for students who are aspiring marine biologists. That's how Nancy Black got her start in the field at the Moss Landing Lab. Black started Monterey Bay Whale Watch Company in 1992. Focus reporter Marina Minas was on board with her recently when a whale got caught in a fishing net.
And then luckily it broke loose of the trap, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes they stay on and there's an entanglement team of people that come out and try to cut the trap off, but it's very hard to do.
Whales that get caught in nets can eventually drown unless someone helps them. Black alerted the Bay Patrol and the whale was freed. To find out more about the Moss Landing Marine Laboratories program, go to mlml.calstate.edu. Coming up in sports, a recap of Fresno State's football 1,000th game and students' opinions of this year's squad.
Plus, the Big Fresno Fair has brought new opportunities for people around the valley. See what all the buzz is about. We'll be right back.
Fresno State, and I'm going to show you why. Here's the beautiful and newly constructed Henry Madden Library, which has a massive collection. The Save Center, which is our sports venue and one of the best attended in the entire country. We're absolute pioneers in the agricultural sciences, having led to the production of the first university winery and drawing in a diversity of students to achieve academic success over the past 100 years. And you know, I wish I had time to tell you about everything else, but in reality, I think you're just going to have to come see for yourself.
Welcome back to Fresno State Focus. Kylie Shea Eldridge is here with sports.
Thanks, John. As you know, the Fresno State football team is a current back-to-back Mountain West champion. Yet this year, they are an iffy 3-3 on the season. I went out on campus to see if students are still diehard fans or if losing a few has made them shy away from cheering them on. There were some mixed reviews.
I'm still supporting the same as last year, but it's very hard to stay in a game when you're kind of behind 40 points and stuff.
Yeah. I'm always going to support Fresno State no matter what. Go Dogs.
There you have it. It seems that for the most part, the Fresno community is still supporting Bulldog football. Speaking of football, Fresno State celebrated its 1,000th game on Friday night with a win over San Diego State. It was a special one. Friday, October 3rd marked the 1,000th game in the history of Fresno State football. They called it the Knight in Navy, displaying new Navy uniforms to match the occasion. Derek Carr, former Fresno State quarterback turned Oakland Raider, was an honorary captain at the game. Wide receiver Josh Harper tells us what it was like having Carr back for the night.
He basically told us, go out there and have fun and, just remember that we're family. So, play for each other, we're family. That's basically what he said,
Fresno State's defense made some pretty important stops against San Diego State throughout the night, helping the Bulldogs win by a score of 24-13. Leading the team defense is a senior safety, Jerron Smith, and linebacker, Donovan Lewis.
It's good to go out there and play a physical team and play a physical game on the defensive side of the ball and come out with a win.
This staff, we haven't lost to them, and it's a blessing, and I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for my teammates and the coaching staff, and it's just a blessing. It's great.
The rivalry between San Diego State and Fresno is alive and well. The team that wins the game gets the reward of the oil can that they show off with pride for the rest of the year. It has been with our team the past 2 years, and until next time, it is here to stay. Student athletes have been speaking out about money issues. They're wondering why they're not reaping the benefits of having their gear sold in stores or their faces being shown on national television. Steve Robotello is Fresno State's Senior Associate Athletic Director. He is here to give us some insight on this issue. Thank you for visiting us, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
So what changes have student athletes been trying to make within this past year?
I think the biggest change that student athletes have been trying to make is have a much greater voice in the decision-making process within the governance of the NCAA, and that being able to have true, honest impact on what the rules are and how they affect student athletes on a daily basis.
And what has been the NCAA's response to that?
Overwhelmingly positive. I think we all kind of looked at the structure, and you see athletic directors, faculty athletic reps, presidents, all sitting down deciding what the rules are, and there was very little student athlete voice on a national level. And I think this change we all embrace of having student athletes to have a seat at the table and letting us know how these things impact student athletes on a daily basis.
So how has this impacted Fresno State? Have the athletes been getting a little bit more involved?
Absolutely. Our student athletes, we have a great student athlete advisory committee who's very active and has a great voice within our student athlete population. And what we're trying to do within our own department is now involve our student athletes in our various committees and in our various meeting structure within the department, so that as we're making decisions on a daily basis, our student athletes can tell us how it impacts them. They can have their voice at the table, which has been very important to us, and how we're trying to move forward to stay within the student athlete welfare and how we run our athletics department.
So what is your personal opinion? Has this been helping, like a big, huge help? Have the student athletes been giving good feedback on changes that they want to be made? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Our student athletes have a great voice in what we're doing. We've had 2 very productive SAC meetings this year where honest, thoughtful questions about how changes and things we can do to impact their student athlete experience has been nothing but positive to us, and things that we've been able to, a few things we've been able to solve pretty quickly, and some things that, you know, we've had to be able to look at and how we can make it work. And at the end of the day, you know, we've got great student athletes, and we want them involved in running all aspects of our program, so that at the end of the day we do what's right for our student athletes.
That's great. So you said that there have been things that you've been able to change pretty quickly. What changes have been made?
I think the biggest thing we're focusing on is on the nutrition aspect of our student athletes, and helping them understand what it takes to be a successful athlete, what foods and things that they need to consume during the day to be as successful. And then also, as that voice has come forward of what they want to have, we've been able to provide more and more options within our student athlete lounge of just healthy snack options, so that they're able to fuel themselves and be ready for practice and competition.
So do you think that, you know, with this new nutrition implemented, do you think that you're going to see the results on the field, maybe a few more wins?
Absolutely. That's the plan, that it helps student athletes not only become better at their sport, be more physically fit and able to handle the demands of Division I athletics, and then hopefully it helps on the other side too, where proper nutrition, better rest, all those things help them on the field and off the field academically.
All right. Well, there you have it, our own Senior Associate Athletic Director, Steve Robertello, and his input on these NCAA issues. Thank you for coming by, Steve.
Thank you for having me.
October is commonly known for Halloween festivities, but here in Fresno, it is also known for the Big Fresno Fair. The 2014 Big Fresno Fair is a must-stop for family fun this October. It offers something different for each family member to enjoy, from food, live shows, and of course, the rides. This year, the fair has 50 rides for people to experience. Fresno State Outreach Counselor Delma Garcia says she comes to the Fresno Fair every year for different attractions.
Today for the horse races, concerts, food, Indian fry bread.
Over the years, the Fresno... Are you guys going to the Fresno Fair this year?
You know what? I have not been, and I haven't been in years. So all these people are putting pictures on, you know, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. So it makes me excited to go. I might stop by this weekend.
What about you, John?
I want to go and get me one of those deep fried Twinkies. I've had one of those like a couple years ago, and they're amazing. I know they sound terrible. They're amazing. They really are amazing. So
they probably taste really good, but they're bad for you.
Oh yeah, I know. So.
All right, well, over the years, the Fresno Fair has become a family tradition. Even if you don't like the rides or trying the food, there are some other forms of entertainment, such as the Sea Lion Splash Show. Watch talented sea lions balance balls, shoot hoops, dance, and perform handstands to entertain all ages. The fair runs through October 13th.
Next week on Fresno State Focus, global marches are happening around the country to warn about climate change.
Plus, foreign exchange students are voicing their concerns about the food they eat in America.
And next week in sports, meet the lacrosse team's newest assistant coach. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.